All right, guys, welcome to a first and special episode of the Vero show. So today we've got from Lithuania, Ned from Helente, which I'm sure you're familiar with his face. I'm sure he's popping all over your Instagram like he is for me. Uh,
Thanks for having me here.
well, it's a pleasure, and thank you for taking very long flights to make it here.
Yeah, fun trip.
Introducing you to definitely some good Canadian cuisine so far.
Yeah.
On this episode, guys, so stick around. We've got a lot of interesting topics. So, first off, having somebody that has been bringing you some great advice on sim gear and has been building some terrific sims in Europe. We're going to give you guys some tips, some do's and don'ts on what you should consider when you build your simulator and also why you should choose the pros to build it for you. So, we're going to have that. And then, second half, we're going to be talking about motion as a general. So, what should you be looking for and expecting from Immersion? What is it going to give you? We're going to be talking a little bit about, does it make you faster? Because it's always a big topic that everybody's
Yeah.
talking about. We will have a special guest, which will have Steve, the owner of Podium1, coming in to talk to us on that subject. And to conclude this all, we'll be bringing many questions in from you guys, our followers. And one of them will have a special appearance from Suellio Almeida. So be sure you stick around till the end and see what it's about. So, Ned, you are exploding right now on Instagram. We're seeing you everywhere. I feel like this is a great opportunity for people to know who you are, what brought you to become who you are, and get to know you a little bit better. So, why don't you tell us, where did you come up with the idea to do what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Nedas, first of all, short for Ned. And I was never really into racing.
Yeah.
I never had that background. When I was a kid, I was interested in cars for some, and I always wanted to drift. Drifting a car was super, super exciting for me. And when I got the chance to get my first money and buy a steering wheel, I was super excited because I've tried that earlier, and it was mind-boggling to me that you can drive a car on a table, basically in front of a screen.
Yep.
I got that, and I realized that I wanted to get a handbrake so I can drift, and I realized I can't do that locally and easily. I just can't go to a store and buy a handbrake, so I had to search online, order and stuff. And yeah, I noticed there was a hole in the market.
Yep.
I decided to help people that were in the same need that I was. I found some suppliers, ordered some handbrakes, and it all started from that. Then yeah, I built my own rig. I tried iRacing, and that's when I felt what racing was.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's where we are now in another continent.
Yeah. So iRacing became your drug that got you off of sliding to
Yeah,
to
yeah,
chasing the
exactly.
grip.
Sliding now is just fun for me, but racing is is addictive. Wheel to wheel, yeah, it's crazy.
So, what motivated you? Because obviously, there's a lot of people out there might have a similar story to that, where they built their sims and they started to drive, maybe drift, race, whichever.
Yeah.
But what was the trigger? What made you go from being, just a user
Yeah.
to becoming an influencer and starting to create content?
Yeah, also with content, how it started. So I didn't see much content like I create myself. I didn't have that. And when I learned more and more about sims, how complicated they are, how hard it actually is to build a proper sim yourself. We don't have videos about cable management. We don't have videos about like true videos. Maybe we don't have more now. When I started, we didn't have that many. And that's what I decided that I want to help people.
Yep.
Like myself. Just yeah.
Yeah. And then, so there's the story of how you became an influencer. And then how did you become a rig builder? What made you decide to, build a cockpit and build a simulator for someone else?
Yeah, yeah. So we started selling gear just on an online store. Then somehow some people started asking, like, "Can you build this for me?" We did that. Yeah, and then we started also building our own aluminum profile cockpits
Yeah.
because we saw a need for that, and we wanted to have something of our own.
Yep. So on that topic, let's segue right into the first thing we wanted to talk about: aluminum extrusion cockpits.
Yeah.
So what made you choose that way?
Well, aluminum cockpits are the best ones, and there's no debate about that. You have on the market all sorts of different cockpits, from formula chassis to tube rigs, but aluminium's like it's is the best in every way. It's adjustable in every way. It's compatible with every component, like every gear, wheelbases, pedals, button boxes, you name it. Everything is made to be compatible with aluminium rigs. Not so much about other rigs. And it's just strong as hell also. Like, it won't break apart. You have a thing you buy once and you have it for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. It's something that when we did turnkeys, we always tell people, you buy an extrusion rig, you have your rig for life. You're never going to have to exchange it or start over.
True.
You can add from it. You can easily go from a GT position to a formula position, single monitor to triple monitor. You want to add a shifter, handbrake down the road. It just becomes very easy. I mean, even strength wise, I mean, I've seen, I've tried, I've seen, I've driven, and I've built a lot of different cockpits as well. And I mean, nothing has the rigidity in the adjustment that you will get with an extrusion, which I think is important to know. I think there are other, like, tube chassis are simpler to build. They might look better to some people.
Yeah, the looks are a big part of it as well. Some people say the aluminum rigs look bad.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they look the best. If you have a flat face profile, you can put like decals on it. You can custom paint it. You can get it looking very good with all the gear. And to me, that the chassis, they look beautiful.
They do, and it's funny because you receive the same comments I get, that people that don't want extrusion, they think it's ugly. I actually think it's beautiful. It's simple. It's strong. It's compact. But yeah, definitely the flat face changes the game. I can see how tracks, and when you see everything that's black, it kind of becomes boring. But you get it. Like the flat face just allows you to do so much more accents and make it more unique.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's cool. And I think it's one of the reasons too that I think you're popping out that orange. You see the orange, and then, like, you think of you right away.
Although more people prefer black, as we have our customers, most of the time they want black, but to me the color, like, it pops the whole rig. And the flat face doesn't even limit you that much in gear. Like, you can bolt on everything on it. For motion, you have adapters for that. For a belt tensioner, you can just swap the profile to another side, and it doesn't limit you basically in any way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of the things when I started building some flat face myself, because I have done those. I was worried about it, and to be honest,
people are.
yeah, I've never had an issue to do anything. So definitely don't shy away from a flat face because you think it's going to limit you in what you can do. So yeah, that's definitely good advice. Yeah. So about your turnkeys, so obviously you're in Lithuania, which is not a typical country that somebody would think somebody's building sims and all that. But so we were talking over the last couple of days because you've been here for a bit. What are some of the furthest locations or unique locations that you've already delivered simulators to?
So we deliver sims in two ways. We can ship them in a wooden crate, and the customer handles the install themselves. Of course, it's fully built, but yeah, you have to take monitors off and all that. Or we load it to a truck and deliver it ourselves. So the furthest we delivered ourselves was actually Germany, from Lithuania to Germany. That's like a 13-hour drive. That actually was recently, and the furthest we shipped to was Dubai. Yeah. We want to have a map on our showroom with pins where we delivered sims.
There you go. And you were already talking about you getting requests from North America and other parts of the world. So for those of you watching, if you didn't know and you're not in Europe and you're interested in getting a sim from Ned here, don't limit yourself on geographic, because he can pretty much build it for you anywhere. Getting back to the extrusion cockpits, what are some of the things that you see about other cockpits out there that kind of make you cringe, or just kind of like you really don't like?
About cockpits or sims?
Just the sims as a whole, depending on cockpit style or monitor placements, or just some of the stuff that you've seen.
Yeah, so I think adjustability is a big one. Like most of the rigs, people want them to look good. They have like chassis and whatever. But when you limit adjustability, first of all, not everyone can get into a comfortable position, and driving position is a big one for me. Like when I adjusted with my first sim, when I adjusted my seating position, to how I actually like it, which took like days
Yep.
of just YouTube tutorials and just adjusting everything, screwing, unscrewing. That changed everything for me. The position, the wheel placement, pedals, how you sit, that changes everything. And if you have a cockpit that looks good, but you can't sit comfortably in it and drive
Yep.
like for hours, it's pointless. It's pointless. It may
No,
look
for
good
sure.
as a showpiece, but
No, for sure. I mean, I see it all the time. Formula chassis that move very little because the actuators are spread so far apart.
It's big,
Monitors that are in front of the chassis, like
far away,
6 feet from you.
Yeah, and we have triple screens that are far away from you. Like the point of triple screens is to wrap around you, so you
Yep.
can look at the side and see a car there.
Yep.
And well, you have triple screens that are like miles in front of you, and
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
know.
it's I think unfortunately a lot of people I think get fooled. I'm not ashamed to say it. A lot of people get fooled by something like great, a cockpit that has fiberglass components to it that's a bit enclosed. Might look good and you might think it looks good, but the functionality of it is terrible. And not only that, but these are one-off built by hands typically, which means you're paying a fortune
Yeah,
for
you are.
something that might look better.
Yeah.
And again,
that's
that's exactly that's based on opinion. But just doesn't have the functionality in the end. So, I mean, you and I are, I think, on the same page where if you're essentially, and I think all the biggest experts in the world, you look like companies like Podium1, like
Yeah.
you look at companies like ASAR, LP
ASAR.
Simu,
Yeah.
those are the ones coming on top of my head. They're
Those are the
all
best
building
ones.
extrusion,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, definitely. There is.
So yeah, definitely. If I think if those of you that haven't built something yet, or you're trying to consider where do I go next, buy extrusion.
Don't look back.
Exactly, and you'll never have to exchange it or buy another cockpit after that. So, and sky's the limit. You can build a 6-stop system with all the bells and whistles, no problem down the road. So
Yeah.
you
can add anything you want. You can also get custom length profiles and do whatever you want. You can put surround speakers behind you, around you, like build anything from profiles.
Exactly. All right, moving on from the cockpit to talk about a bit of what you're going to be putting on it. There's a lot going on in the market right now. I mean,
a lot.
I think about 10 years ago on the options we had Thrustmaster, Fanatec. That was pretty much it at one point, and Logitech. And now you have so many companies on the market. The big ones, Moza, SimMagic, Asetek, SimCube.
Lots of them.
Camus, it just goes on and on and on and on. I see a lot of people giving a lot of weird advice on that. It seems that reviewers always promote things, so it's hard to make a decision when everybody's saying you should get this.
Yeah.
In your head, let's try and maybe classify it into more entry gear, medium gear, and high gear. Kind of what are your thoughts people should be looking at?
My eyes, how I look at this, you have two different sims. You have a turnkey simulator, which professionals tune, build, do everything for, and it's mostly for real drivers to use to train on, so they can just hop on it and it just works and you drive it. And then there's the do-it-yourself guys who build sims themselves. Most of the time, the people who build themselves, they're looking for price and they are willing to put in the time. What I mean, put in the time, first of all, you have to learn how to do everything yourself. But not only that, when the gear, when you're choosing lower end gear, for example, Moza, it's good for the price. It's good. You can get racing. It works sometimes. That's the problem. You can't trust it on a daily basis. You may get a software update. Something stops working. You have to dig around, find firmware updates, dig around Reddit. And just do all that crap, which is not what you want when you're buying a turnkey simulator, for example. You want it to just work. That's it. You get on, you power it, and you just drive and don't think about anything else. And you want it to last a lifetime.
I'll interrupt you there quickly because I do have a story on since you brought up Moza. I remember I was at PRI, which is a huge real racing expo, which has a sim side to it, in Indianapolis every year. When Moza was coming out with the active pedal, they had it on display. This was 2 years ago, so it wasn't close to being on market yet. And I remember they were excited for me to try it because at this point I was using the SimCube active pedal. And I remember trying it, and it felt like there was sand along the shaft. There was friction, and the representative from Moza were saying that that's how it usually works. I don't know if that's how, but it just felt like it was broken from the get-go. And I don't have a lot of experience with Moza, but that's left an impression on me for sure.
We have used a few active pedals on our turnkeys, and we don't anymore. And
Yep.
that's exactly the reason why. So the sand feeling, I felt it. It's
Yep.
not normal,
Yep.
but it does happen, and I don't know what it is, but yeah,
Yeah. On that,
they have.
hopefully maybe they'll fix it eventually. Right now we really only have 2 options on the market for active
Yeah,
pedals. Hopefully there'll be more
Some Magic
coming up.
should have released one, but
Yep.
they forgot about it. Seems like.
So Magic, work on that, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, moving on to Moses entry level and moving on from there. So I think we talked about like medium entry, where I think you and I both agree, but we like Sim Magic. We've
Oh
used
yeah,
them
yeah,
in some
yeah.
products. I mean, I was telling you to this day, one of my favorite pedals outside of the SimCube active pedal is
Yeah.
still the P2000.
Yeah.
There's something in the way that pedal feels, especially in how the release is it has like this slight delay that really mimics a real car that I really, really connect with. So I love their stuff. I love how they have their ecosystems. They've honestly got really good wheels
Yeah.
with pass through
Yeah.
that are great for you to choose for.
They're awesome for the price. Like the GT Neo has been in the market for a long time now,
Yeah.
and it's still considered the best value
Yep.
steering wheel out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely something you would recommend.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you're somebody getting into sim racing, I know obviously something like Sim Magic is going to be more expensive than Thrustmaster, Logitech,
Oh, yeah.
Fanatec,
Yeah.
and Moza. What would you advise starting with that and then going up, or maybe just kind of doing your best to stretch the budget into getting
Yeah.
into something like Sim Magic?
I would recommend that. That's what I would do myself, to start with something like Simagic. So Simagic is like a bit pricier than, for example, Moza, but the quality of most of the things, like of the products of the company, it's
Yep.
better. The software is better. I know customer support is another topic, but
Yep.
yeah, that's what I would do. But ultimately, it depends on the person's goals and what they're planning for the future. How do they want to just buy and forget it? Do they want to upgrade over time? That
Yep.
really depends. Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually there's a name I was trying to remember and I want to bring up. So there's a new company that's been on the market for a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen their stuff. I haven't experienced it yet, but I've seen a lot of reputable people say some great things about it. I don't know.
Conspit?
Yeah, so I don't know if you have any experience with that yet.
No, not much. I've tried their pedals.
Yep.
The hydraulic ones. They're kind of similar to the in feel. They reminded me of the P2000s you told
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah.
So,
But I don't have much experience about them.
yeah, but I think it's definitely a company I think that's worth having a look at, and maybe more people with experience such as yourself. Hopefully, you can get some experience with it. So,
Yeah.
Conspit, send out some stuff so he can give it a try, or myself as well. But I'm definitely interested in seeing for myself, because I think it's important for companies to try and make higher end products more and more accessible.
Accessible, right?
So I think that's important. I think we're getting there.
That's what you're doing with motion.
So I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying. So yeah, definitely it's important for more companies to come into it, and excited about Conspit, seeing where they're going to land. And now let's talk about, the end all be all. So to you, if you're looking for the best in wheelbases, who do you consider?
The best?
Yeah.
Acetec and SimiCube, obviously.
Yep.
Why I prefer Acetec and why we use them in our turnkeys is only about USB pass-through.
Mm-hmm.
Aztec has some downsides, for example, which is weird for me. You can't make different profiles for different games and then auto switch that based on the game, which
Yep.
is weird. Like every brand has that, even it's Magic Modes or whatever.
Yep.
You name it. So that's weird for me. But in general, talking about wheelbases, like most of the high-end ones, to me, Simagic, Acetec, SimiCube, like you just can't feel the difference. Like people talk this and that about, oh, it's sharper, faster, you get that, you get this, but like you tune them the exact same way, you set them to the same Newton meters, which that's the biggest difference, Newton meters. But if you have the same power, it's all the same.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I've only I have a lot of experience with SimiCube. I've only had the SimiCube 3 in my hands at the Racing Expo in Germany.
Yeah.
And I've more recently been on Acetec more, which I'm going to be changing from SimiCube to Acetec since Podium1, our main partner, uses that. So I want to get more experience with it. But every time I drive on Acetec or SimiCube, at least the SimiCube 2 to me feels the same. And I agree, the pass-through is something that's super important. And I actually kind of like the customizable LED on the Ace Attack bases.
Oh,
All
yeah.
those little details are nice.
It's weird.
Yeah.
You turn the wheel and you have rainbows everywhere. That's weird for me. But yeah, I like it
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I gotta say one thing that I will give a 1+ to SimCube 3, and again, I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I remember one of the gentlemen from the SimCube team came over and he showed us a feature which we cranked the like road texture and haptics from
Oh,
like 20% default to like 80%, which in our case we had in our 60 ref system, and like the
Yeah.
vibrations match 1-to-1 what our motion was giving. So engine
Yeah.
RPMs, gear shift, curves, like everything matched 1-to-1 with the motion system. So it gave this like unity, or like
Yeah.
everything was balanced together.
In sync.
So
Yeah,
I
nice.
really, really love that. And I don't even know if something that a lot of people use, but at least for me, if I was building my perfect sim, I think that's the one I would go to simply for that. But in terms of performance, force feedback, how it feels, you're right. Once you tune it,
Yeah.
they can feel pretty much
Identical.
exactly the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. And if anything, I got to give to so SimiCube. I've come out with one or a couple of wheels, I think, for the new wheelbase.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the new wheelbase, new wheels from Ace Attack, so you have more options. First off, some that are more affordable.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with the names, but you had it, the new one that's like with the dash and the
Forte Formula Pro. That's the one.
love it. Love it, love it, love
Yeah.
it. I mean, especially when the one with the red anodize kind of matches our stuff very, very
Yeah.
well. But it is a beautiful wheel, feels great. So yeah. So again, to recap this, I think we're both on the same page. So there are a lot of entry level stuff. Obviously, if it's what you can afford, go for it. But if
Yeah.
you can stretch your budget, try and
Yeah.
get more towards the mid tier,
Yeah.
with which I think we could both back Sim Magic up. Conspit could maybe fit in that market. Then if you're looking for the best, Ace Attack, SimCube.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
There
that.
are more wheelbases coming out right now, like Sim Labs and
Yes.
and others. So we're interested to see what's that about.
Yeah, I mean, on that one, actually, a lot of mixed stuff. I think they're having some issues getting everything perfect, and I think at some points they weren't really giving the full potential. But I remember Richard from SimLab made me try it at the Gaming Expo
Yeah.
on full tilt, and I actually liked it. I actually was feeling some stuff a little bit better than other things. It was a short experience, but yes, it has a lot of potential. So excited for them to get it right and get it to market and see
Yeah.
what it's going to do.
Same.
Yeah. Moving on to an important questions regarding monitors. Should you have integrated monitors or floor standing monitors? And then the other thing that you got to consider in that is, are you doing a motion sim or are you building a static sim? So let's start with static. What are your thoughts?
That's a common question, and a lot of people misunderstand that. Usually, people who don't have experience in Sims, they always think integrated monitors. If we're talking about static, let's start with static.
Yes.
So it depends. First of all, if you're going single or triple screen, the most important thing is the wobbling.
Yep.
For integrated triple screens, you're most of the time gonna have them wobble.
Yep.
Even with a static sim, just from the wheelbase and from you sitting in the rig, you're gonna have some movement if you don't add any additional accessories to make them like tighter and not move.
Yep.
So this is a big one. It breaks the immersion if you have monitors wobbling.
Yep.
For a single screen, that's true as well. Even like with a 49-inch ultra wide, if you have it integrated, like not it's not the rig bending. The monitor itself has some flex in it. If you just like move the monitor itself, it bends.
Yep.
And and when all of that combined, wheelbase, the whole rig, everything's connected, you have the wobbling. You can get used to it, but like if you're building a sim and you're not tight on space, and I always just recommend going freestanding.
Yep.
The only moment when like integrated can be good is if you want to have everything in one piece, like even the PC, the monitor, everything on the rig, and you want to put like caster wheels on it so you can move it around like in one piece. That's very convenient.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. So, integrated gives you more mobility and more compactness.
Yeah.
But then, especially at that point, if you want to put everything on and put your PC on, then it just puts more weight onto the monitor stand as well, which can create more wobbliness. So I think unless you want to keep things more compact and mobile, then you shouldn't go integrated. You should definitely go floor standing with a static sim.
Yeah.
I just find too that you can, if you want to add bigger monitors later, if you want to add more weight,
Oh
so
yeah.
more speakers and et cetera, then you can
Oh
just
yeah.
add legs to the end of it and make it more sturdy. Whereas with integrated, it just, again, very, very limits you. So I think it should be a rare circumstance where you should consider
Yeah, definitely.
integrated.
Agreed.
The big one.
Yeah, the big
The big one.
motion.
How many times are you posting motion content and you get criticism because your monitors are not integrated?
Yeah, a lot.
I think it's a pet peeve of everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's still going to happen. But obviously, a lot of people seem to think that with motion, you would want to have them integrated.
Yeah, so they move with you.
Yeah. So the first thing on that is, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to beef the crap out of your monitor stand, because you're going to get more flex, more
Oh
vibrations.
yeah.
So it becomes more complicated if you're going to go down that route. I personally, I don't get sick being tossed around in a rail car flight. I don't get sick in VR on motion. I get instantly dizzy every time that I've tried integrated
Oh,
monitors
that's interesting. That's
and
actually
motion.
interesting. I get sick from a lot of things.
Yeah.
I haven't tried properly, like big motion with integrated, but yeah, as you told, the wobbliness just increases a lot with motion.
Yeah.
I mean, Cubic has their integrated monitors with the Spider platform. They have these big arms that like just grab the monitor
Yeah.
basically to make them not move and wobble when you're with motion.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, but it's not all
But
about
even
that.
on that, actually just reminded me of a story. So at PRI, there was the, I think it's QS35, which is the big one that Podium1 had with the monitors.
Yeah.
And there's so much motion going on, it kept disconnecting the HDMI cable. So
Oh.
as they're driving,
Wow.
one of the monitors came down. So there's a lot of things that you're going to have to beef up additional than
Yeah.
just that. So sorry for interrupting.
No worries. Where was I?
So talking about how you needed to beef everything up on
Yeah.
onto for
Yeah.
the
So the wobbliness is not the most important thing when we're talking integrated versus freestanding on a motion sim.
Yep.
That's one thing, but people think you should have monitors moving with you because in a real car, the car is connected as well, but that's actually false.
Yep.
Because we were talking about it earlier, but when you brake, like the horizon doesn't move. You do,
Yeah.
but the horizon stays. And when you have integrated monitors, everything moves with you.
Yep.
So it's not how it should be. And there's actually people think it's disconnected when you move and the monitors don't.
Yep.
But it's actually not a big deal at all.
Yep.
Like you would have to move a lot from the monitors to get some sort of disconnect.
I agree entirely. That's the thing. I mean, when you're driving, vision is key, and your vision is locked as far as you can see, and it's on the horizon. It's on the track. It's locked into something that doesn't move.
Yeah.
The car moves, but that doesn't move.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've always had disconnects with it, and then you're limiting yourself to the monitor size, etc. There's so many problems with it, and I mean, so many companies. A lot of companies that are professional builders have explored with it. So many people that are close to me and clients have absolutely wanted it. And anyone that I've warned not to do it and that has done it has literally taken it apart within 30 minutes of driving and gone static. It just doesn't work. I mean, I remember Podium1 has experimented with this a lot, and they always prefer static.
They talk about it a lot.
Yeah, Boundless did 160 UF system with us because the customer was adamant about it. They
that.
even had to turn the motion down terribly. We were looking at these videos, like, that doesn't look right. It's like, I know, but I didn't have a choice, but this is the way the customer wants it.
Yeah.
So there just really isn't. I think if you want motion and you want the absolute maximum immersion, there are two ways of doing it. One is VR. And if you're going to integrate monitors, you would have to create like these kind of like massive commercial flight simulators you see where you're closed off and you can't see the room around you.
Yeah.
So you can't tell that the monitors are kind of moving. But even that, I think, would still be disorienting.
Yeah.
It's one thing I haven't tried yet, but I don't see it. And the reality is, I don't, unless I'm like really losing control and spinning out, then there's a disconnect with the monitors. But every right behavior, even a traction loss that you experience on track, I have zero disconnects.
It's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah.
So in the end, floor standing for static and motion. Always. Yeah, definitely. All right. So that will conclude our first segment. Now let's move on to the second segment, which is we'll have a lot more episodes going a lot more in depth on the topic of motion and specific topics of motion. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of give our impressions on motion as a general thing, on what it adds, some of the benefits. And then the second part to this is we're going to talk about our initial thoughts on if it makes you faster or slower. I'll tie in a couple of things that I want to pass along. Then we're going to have our first guest, which is going to be Steve, the owner of Podium1, to help us talk about the big hot topic, which is, does motion make you slower or faster? I mean, that on its own is an entire massive episode, but we're going to try and keep it short and just get some feedback from him. So going into motion, so funny story, because you've experienced something that I experienced when you came here. So obviously we wanted you to try our products, but before you did, I wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with the rest of the sim. So I had you drive the system, but with everything on motion deactivated. You remember what you said?
Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah. You come so accustomed to driving with motion that when you drive on without it, it's just weird. I'm that way. I mean, we just had an episode with Dave Cam tuning his motion system, and we completely ruined it for him because he can't drive without motion anymore.
Everyone says that, but it's very, very true. Once you try it, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I mean, a lot of people I think will attribute a lot of your recent content to immersion. I mean, you started with the belt tensioner from Cubic, the BT1. Then you went to 2.5 DOF, and I think you've done some 3 DOFs recently, and then I think you're about to do a 5 DOF as well.
Yeah.
So how about you talk to us to what got you into wanting to do immersion and kind of how that experience and adventure's been for you so far?
Yeah. So my first sim was actually a Trustmaster clamped on the desk. Then I moved to a proper aluminum rig with triple screens, and I didn't have any haptics, nor bash shakers, no motion, no belt tensioner, and I think, like, as all of us that have sims at home, we want to move, we want motion. That's the ultimate goal of everyone, and I always wanted that. I mean, it's expensive. That's one reason that not all of us can have it. So when the belt tensioner came out, I was super interested in that because it was kind of like motion to me, but more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually motion, but it's like, yeah, it's a thing. And so I got that, and eventually I got motion, which just changed everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So you start moving, and like it's just the best thing for immersion.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to go without it afterwards, even if it's a settle, 3 DOF to a full blown out 6 DOF, with the tensioner, obviously. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, for me, I have a hard time driving without it anymore, and I pick up on so many cues from it. It's the best way I can describe it. I mean, I've said it in a recent conversation I had, which is on our YouTube our YouTube channel. But I want to talk more about it now, which is, I strongly believe that motion becomes force feedback for your body.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like comparing driving on a Logitech G25 or whatever they have out, like their entry-level products, versus an Asetek or SimiCube direct drive wheelbase. There's so much more information that comes, and so much precise information that comes from the higher end direct drive wheelbase. So when you have that, it's more fun. It's more motivating to put time on the sim.
Yeah.
And I also think you drive faster because you're getting better information. So when you add motion, and I mean, motion on its own is a whole entire bunch of episodes. There are a lot of different systems out there. And even if you have the right system, but it's tuned incorrectly, it won't give you what you want.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have a motion system that is tuned properly, what you get just makes it so much more fun, and I believe makes you a more consistent and faster driver.
I agree.
So, yeah, definitely the force feedback for your body is going to be trademark.
Yeah.
You're going to be hearing me say that. Going to be hearing me say that a lot. You're going to see a lot more conversations about motion. You're going to see us talk a lot more about doing experiments for, fast sim racers, the aliens, trying sim to see if they go faster or slower and what's their take on it. And I also want to work with professional drivers. We're very close to securing a trial with an F1 driver. So hopefully I'll have more news on that soon, and hopefully it will happen, because that is going to be really, really interesting. But again, the fact that we are knocking at the door of people like that really shows you how much motion is current for 2026. And I think we're going to hear more. We're going to see more options. I mean, the big topic, I think, of the last weekend was Moza finally
Yeah,
announced that they're coming out with the motion system.
yeah,
Obviously, they're going to make this very affordable, so the point of entry into motion is going to become better, which is exciting, I think, for the market.
yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, and again, even with what we're doing, we're trying to make it more affordable. We got a 3 DOF system that you can later on upgrade into 6 DOF, so you don't have to go out and spend a huge amount and make that choice now. So that's something that I think is exciting. We have our belt tensioners that are coming to come to market. I'm sure other companies are going to come out with belt tensioners and motion systems as well. So stay tuned. But I mean, I think it's the next evolution. I think more and more people have motion or have sims and have had sims for a while. Active pedals is something that you've debated, and I think you can go without going with active pedal. You
Yeah,
don't. It's not a must,
yeah, definitely.
but I think at some point, sooner than later, motion will become a
Standard,
must. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Which now leads us into our big question: does motion make you faster? And let's bring in Steve from Podium1 and let's go
Yeah.
right into that subject. Segueing into our next topic, we're going to not go too much in detail because this could be a multitude of episodes, but let's just brief into a big topic, which is does motion make you slower or faster? And for this segment, we brought in Steve, which is the owner of Podium1. You guys all know him. He is an expert at building massive motion system and has had a lot of real race car drivers come into his store. So, Steve, first off, welcome to the Vero Show, and pleasure to introduce you to Ned as well.
Thanks for having us, guys. Ned, how are you, man?
Awesome, awesome. How are you?
Doing well. Like I said, we're just meeting, but it feels like I know you already. I see all your content, so super cool. Welcome.
Yeah. So, Steve, how about you take the lead on this? So, obviously, you've had a bunch of different motion systems. You've had a lot of people walk through the store. So, what's your impression? Has motion been something that's been welcomed, and do people feel like they go faster or slower with it?
Oh, loaded question, right? So I think, and what I mean by that is I could talk all day, but it comes down to what do we hear from others all the time? And it's funny, I was just on the on a Facebook wall the other day, a Facebook post, one of the sim racing groups, and someone had apologized to Dan Killian saying, "Hey, a couple months ago I was beating you up about Ford off motion and this and that, blah blah blah," and then he got one, and he's like, "I was so wrong." Right. And I'm like, how do we get people to understand that, right? Like that, there's some, like even Dave Cam, right? When we did the interview with Dave Cam, he was like, I can't go back.
I really don't know if I would be happy going back to a static rig.
You can't go back because the information that you're getting, it's the whole point of this is immersion, right? Now, when it comes to making you faster or slower, we can argue, people will talk. I think what it is when Max Verstappen said that and the internet kind of caught on fire with it, we need to understand the context of what he was speaking about. Like if you're a pro level sim racer and you don't want to have a bump when you hit a curb like at Watkins Glen or something, and the wheel pulls and all of a sudden your foot slides because of the motion, that potentially will make you a tenth slower. But when you're looking at customers who are buying full motion systems with belt tensioners and the things that they're doing, they want the full immersion to simulate what they're feeling on track, whether they're amateurs, whether they're pros, whatever, right? And what you find is that the motion absolutely grounds you better than not having it, right? Yeah. And these are the things that if you're practicing in real life, if you hit a bump in real life, it is going to jostle you and make you lose time potentially. And you want to replicate that on the sim because it's also teaching you how to not have that happen, right? Yeah. You're like, oh, I don't want to hit that curb that way. Whereas when I'm on a Logitech G923 and I'm just doing this esports thing, I want to cruise over that and not get yeeted. That's fine, right? But when it comes to actually learning how to translate from the sim to real life, it's imperative.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've touched on a lot of great things there. So one of the things you said kind of lines up with the podcast we had done a while ago with Suellio Almeida from the Sim Racing Expo in Germany. He was kind of like the aliens. It might not help them, but see, I'm still of mindset that it will, because like we've just spoken about in the last segment, I like to compare motion system as force feedback for the rest of your body. So maybe if you're a pro sim racer, you're not going to crank it up so that you're being tossed around, but there's still ways to get subtle cues on. You don't want to bump to feel like it's going to bump you, but you want to be able to tell like something upset the suspension. So it can be tuned in a way where you're getting so much more cues and so much more information without making it hyper physical or throwing you off your game. And again, if you have a G25 Logitech direct drive versus an Asetek, 25 millimeter wheelbase, and how you can tune the details in that, which one are you going to be faster with? So why
That's right.
wouldn't motion still work for the, aliens? I think there's a lot to discover there. There's a lot to test.
1,000%.
And I think you and I have had the discussion. We want to keep testing and want to keep pushing it. But I think that there's not enough factual information for guys like Max Verstappen to be saying what they're saying. And I think Max hasn't been on a lot of the products I create and that you create and the profiles that we've had. You may have been on stuff that doesn't work well. We're potentially doing a motion system for an F1 driver, which we can't say yet. And he's close enough to Max Verstappen. So hopefully that will be a segue that, you or I or someone that is in the know in the industry will be able to get Max to try it. And then see. But I think there's a lot of testing and there's a lot of things that are unproven. But I've experienced everybody going faster. And going back to the example that we've used before, which was Aaron Vasquez at the Sim Expo. For those of you that don't know Aaron Vasquez, I'm not sure now, but at least at the time was the highest I rating driver in the world.
What simulator did you do your fastest lap on?
I was faster with Immersion.
This is the alien in definition. This is the alien of aliens. And he drove static 3-DOF and 6-DOF from us nonstop for a whole day. And his fastest times were always on the 3-DOF and 6-DOF versus static. So,
That's right.
I mean, that's,
I
to
mean,
me, if that doesn't-
there's three things to me on this based on this conversation right now. One, when you're looking at Max or Lando or any of these guys and they're using the actual F1 sims, they're experiencing motion, right? And again, the reason being is that they want to try to replicate as much as they can what they're actually going to be doing, right? Two, I already lost my train of thought on it, but I've been in sims myself where when I had motion, there was one, for example, I got I was on a static and then I moved to another big motion platform that we have. And all of a sudden, and it was not only just me, it started off with some of the teammates. They actually shaved off a second or up to 2 seconds when they moved to emotion. And I think the reason being, which is the big one, is, as you know, last week I was at this Best Buy summit, right? And we're there with all these people. I'm on stage talking and all the different stuff that we're doing with Best Buy. And all these people that were there have never been on sims at all,
Yep.
right? And what's so cool is that when you're on a motion sim, you can see people feel it and they're immediately instinctually correcting the slide, right? Whereas when it's a non-motion sim, by the time they know that they're sliding, it's already too late. And a lot of people have experienced on iRacing. We've all heard that. We've seen it in all the boards and stuff. People talk about when it's sliding, it's too late. But when you have a motion system, you absolutely can feel that happen. And not, again, it's I see it in people constantly catching. And it's like, dude, that's just so cool. It's so cool.
Ned, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I love the way Steve described it about if it makes you slower. Motion can, like, if we're talking, if it makes you faster without motion, like, it would be like a cheat code. What you said, like, yeah, basically, if you don't have motion, you don't have the consequences of curbs, of the stuff you lose time on, and you basically get used to all of that. Without motion, you don't have the consequences, and if it makes you faster, then it's basically like a cheat code. But what you said about, you have more connection, like the force feedback for your body, I love that as well. What's my experience with that when I got motion first for myself? I'm not a pro driver. I'm not like high I rating or whatever, but I felt that I was faster and more conscious of what I was doing, and I can just drive safer and also faster because you connect to it way more and you just move. Like to me, that's everything. You start moving.
Yeah,
that changes everything.
Well, Mark, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like Mark, you'll know this. Suellio will know this, and he'll be able to attest to it as well. I'm on track all the time in various cars, radicals, and prototypes, and different things, right? For me, the big thing with motion, I have this question all the time from customers, like, is motion, do you need it? No, you don't need it, right? But here's the thing that's, again, what are we after? And for me, the important things about motion is one is braking, right? When I'm on track, in any car, every single turn has a feeling, right? You know what the time is that you're on the load in the front. You know when the suspension rests and all that. So a little clock goes off in your head on every turn. And when I have a motion system, I can feel that, right? The second thing about motion to me that's super important is think about like turn 6 at Laguna Seca on the kink, right? And you want to track all the way out as far as you can. But if you go too far, you'll feel that right rear tire slip, right?
Yep.
And that's another thing with motion and haptics that's just so important, because now you know you're using the full amount of the track, which is what you need to do to keep pace, or you've gone too far, right? And these are things that, although you can get some of it in the wheel, it's just so much more real life, if you will, when you're doing it like with motion system.
Yeah, there's another topic I think on this subject that I've never said, and I think is crucial. So even on the long term, like any other sport, the more time you put into it, the better you get. And one thing that isn't debatable with motion, that is an absolute truth, is a lot more fun to drive on a rig with motion than static. The more fun your sim is, the more time you're going to want to put on, which therefore the more time you're going to put on, you're going to develop as a driver. You're going to get faster. It's just there's other effects that motion will help you into becoming a better driver.
That's a good take. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%. I mean, it's
yeah.
a great tool, and if you use it as such, you will absolutely improve. Which, that's a whole nother podcast.
It is.
talking
And I mean,
about sim racing to real racing and what it can do.
Yeah, and I mean we're talking about motion just as a whole, and I'd like to throw this out there because you can do a take on this. I know motion very well from racing, and we're just discovering flight, but you've been doing a lot more flight, and I think motion as a general not only does it make you fast, but it makes you better at anything you do. And I mean, you probably see it in flight and in the stuff that your guys are doing, that when you're putting people that are actually using this to train for the real thing, how better they're going to connect to the experience using motion.
It's, again, 1,000%, right? And the cool thing is with flight. So yes, we're doing a lot with flight. We just got some big contracts. We were at a Verticon last week with our roto helicopter at Robinson R66, right? It's in the flight world, they're so used to simulators, and they want motion. They expect motion. They need motion, all that type of stuff. In the racing world, everyone's still kind of like, oh, it's a sim, right? But they're at Tony Kanaan, Carl Edwards, Ross Chastain, Tony Stewart, Chris Forsberg, all these people that we work with, right, are realizing how important motion is. And it's just another level of information. I mean, that's all there is to it, right? It's another level of information, another layer that we need. And in a flight sim, what's really cool, again, like with Vero, we've used it on racing sims as well as flight sims, and it will adapt and adjust, no problem, right? You get the floatiness if you need it on a flight sim, but you'll get the grounded stiffness, if you will, on a racing sim, right?
Mm-hmm.
So super cool how it can go both directions.
Yep. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, we're looking forward to more and more feedback. I know you've been using a lot of the Cubic products for flight, which are amazing for it. And we can't wait to see what we have to offer on that. Because again, one thing I'll be honest about is I'm a race car driver. I have a long history with race car driving. I know that side very well. When it comes to flight, it's fun. I have a right at it testing it, but I don't know flight. So you guys have a lot of expert in-house and all access to experts from outside that are going to come in. And so I'm excited. I mean, I'm going to bring this in. It has nothing to do with it. But when I was there on my last visit, and I flew that helicopter sim that you guys had, and I was in there with Chandler, legitimately, I've done some crazy shit that's amazing in the last 10 years of my life. And that was up there, dude. The experience I had, feeling connect. I felt like I was in a real chopper, especially with Chandler's instructions. It felt like I was in a real chopper with an instructor. I got out of there, and I mean, that was cool as shit. Like,
and what's crazy, dude, is like since you came, I don't remember when that was, right? But I can tell you because of what we had last week, it has improved so much. We just got in the actual Robinson flight controls yesterday, so we got the real collectives, the real cyclics, and everything are going on it. But it's when I'm talking to people and they get off and they go, I felt my stomach in my throat when we do a 0G drop over the edge of a building, right? And they're like, it's unreal. It's so cool. I mean, and we're working with, to your point, I'm not going to say so much on this podcast right now, but we're working with people that are at very, very high, dark, secret levels, right, that are getting on these and helping us deal with this stuff. And these guys know helicopters like the back of their hand, and if they get on it and they get out and they go, dude, this is way better than the $30 million sim that we have at base, right? Then it's like, all right, we know we're going on the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a cool sensation because you guys have gotten that from military-ish contracts or people that have been on the sims, and we have it with the driver we're close to locally that's been on like F1 type sims, like driver in the loop systems, and then he jumps on our sixth off, and he absolutely loves ours compared to this one in specific. It's cool to see
I mean,
that.
just think about like Tony Kanon, right? So
Yeah,
you came to PRI with us, right?
yeah,
Tony hits me up. He goes, "Hey, are you guys going to be at PRI?" I go, "Yeah." He
yeah,
goes, "I want to be in the booth with you guys and signing autographs." And I go, "Hey, Tony, do you want us to do like a McLaren rig?" He goes, "I didn't want to ask. I know you guys are busy." He goes, "Yes." And then he sends me a picture. "Do you want this? The IR 18 Dallara, right? Indy car, right?" So he brings it in. But the point is that he got on the rig. We have all the video content. We had this cool
yeah,
McLaren rig that we did for him. And he's like, he pulls me aside. He goes, "Steve, this isn't leaving Indy. I want it. I don't care how much I have to pay for it. I want it. And let's go," type of thing, right? And and I bring up him because he's notoriously known for saying he doesn't like motion rigs, and that has been, yeah, he's got it. We've all, I mean, I don't know if you've been there, but you've been there, right? We've all been to his sim garage.
yep,
He has all these sims with no motion,
yep,
but now all of a sudden he has ours in there with a Vero platform on it
yep.
because how amazing it is.
Yeah, and again, it's cool to see that the tech is getting smaller compared to like these multi-million commercial grade simulators for flight or driving. It's becoming more affordable so people can experience that. Not only experience motion in their home, but experience a motion that is better than anything else that's been done in the past. And I think motion is last year was the active pedal, I think was the big thing, and this year it's motion, and it's only going to get better from here.
The industry's only getting bigger and bigger, right? I mean,
Yep,
I have some cool calls later today. I've had a lot of great calls last week and what's going on with some giant
yep,
manufacturers and different divisions. And that's because, again, all these players now are starting to realize that this isn't a game. And again, we talked about flight sim with
yep,
motion or not motion or whatever. We haven't talked about golfing sims, but it's the
yep,
same general idea, right? I
yep,
say this all the time. You and I play Arc and all that kind of stuff, right? And if I get on my sim and I'm loading up Arc, I'm not practicing to go shoot rats in a subway, right? Type of thing. But if I'm on a golf sim, I'm either learning good or bad habits. If I'm
yep,
on a driving sim, I'm developing good or bad habits, right? And if you use these as a tools that they absolutely can be, some people
yep,
just get on to have fun. But if you use them as the tools they absolutely can be, it's a game changer. And it's why
yes,
you're seeing, again, Nürburgring. Why was it that Max and his co-driver, who was a sim racer from Redline, they came in first? The
yep,
second place team, who was that? It was the guy that they made the Gran Turismo movie about, right? So how is it the top teams that are winning, even Jimmy Broadbent and Misha and stuff, all these guys are doing sims and then translating it into real life because it
yep.
helps you keep your edge, period.
It does. It does. It does. Well, we'll wrap it up there because we could keep going all day. But
Yep.
Steve, thank you for taking some time out of your very, very busy schedule to chat with us.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, and looking forward to more conversations with you and doing more cool shit.
Very cool, man. Thank you guys for having me. Ned, have a safe trip back. And
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming,
Bye.
dude. It was good meeting you.
Same
All right.
here.
All right, guys, that concludes the two segments that we've had. Now, time to start wrapping this up and head over to our questions.
Final lap. Question time. Let's go.
So we have three questions that came in for Ned, and then I've got three questions that I'm going to bring in from our Discord channel. So, Ned, what's the first question we have today?
So, Joey Kevin is asking us for triples. Is it curved 32s or flat 32s? Which one is it? Curved or flat?
I mean,
It's a big question.
you
Everyone
probably
wonders that. People see curved monitors and they say, "Oh, I want curved. They look so much better, like curved. What is flat?" What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I mean, I know my answer, and I also know that you, as well as I did, because I used to do turnkeys, and now you do.
Yeah.
But it's a question you always get
Yeah.
when you're doing your consultation, and I have the same opinion I've had since day one on this. And in the end, I think it doesn't matter from when you're sitting in the rig. With the tools that we have, with the games that we have now, and how you calibrate your field of view and your image, it compensates for whatever you have, and the image you end up seeing doesn't matter if it's curved or flat. It's the same image. And if to me, if anything, I'd rather have flat because to set up your angles, I actually find it's a lot easier to do with a flat mount monitor.
True. It's easier. It's also easier to use a bezel-free kit, especially talking about 32s. Yeah, basically what you said. It makes no difference at all. Instead, like the only thing is looks, how it looks from the outside. Yes, curved may look better for some people.
Yep.
But in terms of driving it, there is no difference at all.
Yeah. I mean, even to push it to the extreme, because your question came in as 32s, but let's talk about, the guys that want to do the extreme ones.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I think one of the nicest monitors, if you're looking at a picture or video of a sim from the outside, are the LG curved 45s. Those monitors, when you put it together, it looks like one wrapped projector screen
because
almost.
it's actually a perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. But my new favorite, and maybe I'm the odd man out, but the feedback we've gotten so far, I mean, you've driven it now, but
Yeah.
I use the LG C5 gaming TVs. It's a 1 millisecond response rate, 144 hertz, G-Sync. Like, this is a proper gaming.
Everything you need.
Yeah. There are drawbacks. Like, now you have to use a remote. Like, turning them on it's not like a PC monitor where it just turns on.
Right.
So there's a couple little extra steps. But the 4K OLED image you get with it is just out of this world. And for 55-inch monitor, it's around the same price as the LG curved 45s.
Yeah, and they're way taller,
Yes.
way bigger. Yeah. But
Yeah.
they're also 4K. You need the bit beefier PC than the 1440.
Surprisingly not. And this is the thing that's been blowing my mind. I can't explain it, and I'm a feel guy. I know what I see and what I experience.
Yeah.
But I'm not a techie guy in all the tech stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. It shows you how much I know there. But for some reason, I actually find I get a little bit more frames per second with the same computer on the 4K resolution TVs than I do at 2K on the curved 45s.
That's interesting.
I find the curved 45s are harder to run on the PC. So, essentially, you would want to have a really built PC for both those setups.
Yeah, definitely.
But you don't need something more for the 4K somehow.
It's interesting because technically it's the more resolution, the more pixels you have.
Yes.
But yeah, it may be similar. They're 2K, but they're ultra wide, which also adds more pixels.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyways, going back to that, because the curved 45s, what I was trying to get to is the curved 45s. Those ones are the best curved monitors you can have. I still choose my flat TVs over those at the moment.
Yeah, they're bigger, they're taller. Yeah, it's more immersive.
Yep. So, flat over curved?
Yeah, flat. If we're talking about the positives, like flat is better, but usually it's not a big difference.
Yes. Yep. So, great. What's your second question?
The second question we have is Ganesh, I think, is asking us, what is the hardest part of building and configuring a sim rig?
Oh, man.
What do you think about that?
There is so much there to unpack. So much there to unpack. I would say, if I could sum it up or try and explain it, is planning. There is so much details that you have to be ready for. Getting the right seating position, to how are you going to manage your cables, to are you going to integrate your power supply and a USB hub within the cockpit so you don't have all these wires going into the PC. What are you going to use? What extensions are you going to need? How are you going to position the monitors, depending on the gear you have, what height you're going to set stuff. So much has to go. And if you don't plan right, you're going to be redoing and readjusting things for weeks.
Yeah.
So I would say in the end, it's planning. And I know hiring someone such as yourself can cost a lot, which will put it out of the element for people. But if you can't afford to get this built by the professional, just save yourself the headaches and do it.
Yeah, it really depends on how much time you have, how much, like, if you want to build a proper sim yourself and do everything perfect for yourself, it has to become your new hobby, basically. You have to spend, like, a lot of time, a lot of weeks, and, like, just watching YouTube tutorials and getting everything perfect and changing a lot of parts. Like, if you want to get good, proper cable management, it's not going to take, like, a couple hours. Like, we as turnkey builders, we spend, like, 10, 15 hours, man hours on cable management alone when we know what we're doing, and we're doing the same thing for every sim.
Yep.
So so planning, I love the way you said that. Planning.
I think the other warning, I think there, this will be more episodes. be careful what you see online. There are a lot of great advice on what to do online, but there's just as much bad advice on what to do online and what you should select.
Unfortunately, yes.
So I don't know if this is something you offer, but I know it's something we did offer. And you know what? Because I care about people, it's still something I would offer if somebody were to send us an email. What I would do, if you can't afford to do a turnkey sim with us at the time, we would offer you a consult. Obviously, we would charge something for this, but we would do a consult with you to tell you, okay, what are you looking for? Okay, this is the equipment we recommend. This is the shopping list of things you should go and find. Here are the consideration you should do. So at least you can have a roadmap from an expert.
Yeah.
So I would be cognizant of that, but do not underestimate the project you're going to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of people underestimate how, they think it's easy until you get all the boxes in your house and you have to assemble and do everything.
Yes.
Then you realize it's not that simple.
Yes. Keep watching his videos.
Oh, yeah, you'll
keep
learn-
watching his
learn a lot.
videos. He's passing a lot of great information. I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you're doing right now. So definitely trust this man into what you should do. So yeah. So third question, which is a really, really great one.
So someone's asking, does sim racing and playing sim racing games actually help you get better in real life?
That is an amazing question.
Yeah.
It is a multitude of episodes on its own.
Yeah.
So let's just answer that question in a short time frame. And I think who better to answer this question than Suellio Almeida?
Oh, yeah.
Suellio, welcome to the Vero Show.
Thank you. Thank you. Always an honor. Really nice studio you guys are getting there. So I'm excited to see how this podcast evolves over time. And the mission is it's a good mission that I completely support to get the word of like proper sim racing knowledge and racing knowledge to the world. The answer to that question is kind of like, wow, how is this even a question, right? Because it's not only something that helps, but something that enables it. Especially on my case, sim racing has enabled me to learn things that I would not have the means to learn otherwise. I would never have been a real life racing driver without sim racing. So it's more, there's a lot of things that obviously we can talk about. For example, whether you start in real life first and then you move to sim racing, your experience is going to be completely different than someone who starts in the sim and then goes to real life, because the way you train your brain to receive and process information might be different. If you're a real life driver, you are immediately relying on some kind of data points like the yaw and the way your body reacts, and everything is there. There's a lot of data points you can rely on. In real life, in the simulator though, those data points are more limited, which forces you to focus on what's available to you. And if you do the move from sim racing to real life, that's actually a way easier move, because in the simulator, you're relying on a lower amount of data points, like the visuals, the force feedback. And then as soon as you move to real life, you still have all that. You still have the visuals, you still have the force feedback, the sound of the tires of the engines, but you have more. You have what you're actually feeling with your body, what you have the sustained G forces, you have all the motion of all the vibrations, everything is there. So as a sim racer moving to real life, that's actually easier and prepares you better. It makes you a way better real life driver if you train in the simulator, because it forces your brain to process a limited amount of information in a way that's super efficient. And as soon as you go to real life, you're overwhelmed with information, and all that actually helps you. It's an addition of information rather than a difference, like a lot of people like to think, oh, what's the difference between real life and sim? No. The difference is that there's more in real life. And allowing yourself to focus on the sim and train yourself is way, way more effective than people would think.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've said it extremely well.
Yeah.
Let's try and maybe give even a little bit more precision to this question. This is something I always refer to as well myself when I talk to virtual to real or real to virtual, but the inputs, how you drive in terms of your inputs how do you compare that to what you do on the sim and in real life?
Same thing. The inputs are the end goal. The inputs are literally the result of a big mathematical equation, right? You're looking at the number 42 there, small reference. And but the process in your head, the way you process all the previous inputs, what the car is telling you, what's your objective, how much speed you want to carry, what's the line, how much grip, and how will the car react to the inputs. All of that processing in your head is what's different. But in the end, the inputs are almost identical. The way I brake, the way I trail brake, the way I downshift. If you were to actually count all the things that you do in a real car versus a simulated car, it's the same. It's the same thing. You have the pedals, you have the throttle, you have the steering, that's it. So in the end, the way you transfer the weight, the way you trail brake, the way you focus on that initial rotation with engine braking, all those things, I learned that in the sim, and in real life it's exactly the same thing. What is different? Maybe a little bit more variance in conditions, maybe a little bit more variance in how the tire interacts with the track, but those differences are so subtle that they become a tiny polishment part that you have to do as you transition to real life. But the bulk, the 98% of the knowledge that you have and you have built in the simulator is completely transferred, and all of that really helps. A lot of times I'm talking about a specific way I drive into a corner in real life with a teammate who doesn't have sim racing experience, and they somewhat act impressed. They're like, how do you know that? That's pretty, pretty detailed for you. I'm like, yeah, because I've done 1,000 laps in the simulator, and we talk about that stuff. We talk about dampers. We talk about the tire surface temperature. We talk about camber. We talk about elevation changes. We talk about tire wear and tire management. All of that is in the sim. So these people who don't have a lot of experience in the simulator, they kind of underestimate the amount of details that we have to learn and perfect within the simulator before we go to real life. So in the end, again, inputs, same thing, literally the same thing.
I think it's very well explained, as you usually explain things. Let me add one more element to the question. If people are looking to really prepare themselves for reality, what's the best game or software you recommend they use to train?
I did it all in iRacing. I've done Assetto Corsa. It did help me a lot on my foundation, because when I did my first year of Assetto Corsa, the first one, I didn't even know that iRacing existed. And when I realized that it did exist, it was a little bit expensive for me back then, but then eventually I made the move, and it was definitely worth it. And that's where I really found most of the, crazy obsessed people that really took it seriously and went to the last detail and were looking for hundreds. In iRacing, with the constant updates and with the constant feedback from real life drivers and everything, I found the closest mentality within the audience compared to real life versus other simulators. So the whole meme of open lobby and all those little things that we see a lot in other simulators, we don't have that much in iRacing. It seems like people take it a little bit too serious, even, which is, I don't know, I think it's a good thing. And yeah, since I got into iRacing, I built my whole academy in iRacing now. We have leagues in iRacing. I teach real life drivers using iRacing. We only move to Assetto Corsa when we don't have the specific mods or specific tracks. And again, there are other good simulators. It's just that when you already have something that is so effective and so alive, every 3 months there's an update, and you're constantly seeing that they are super serious about that transition and that fidelity, then why even try to look elsewhere, right? So for me, it has been iRacing for many years, and I don't have any plans on moving.
Yep, I agree.
I agree 100%. You only need Assetto Corsa, yeah, as you said, for specific tracks, because iRacing doesn't have everything, and Assetto Corsa does have every basically car and track out there.
Yep, cool experiences.
But I want to add one thing, though. I want to add one thing to all this. I've been training a lot of real life drivers, and I noticed that the best results happen when we actually alternate between iRacing and Assetto Corsa. And there's a reason for that. I don't want to create drivers that are overly solidified in a specific driving style. And Assetto Corsa offers some differences in terms of how the car reacts to the trailing of the like in Assetto Corsa, you tend to trail a lot less than in iRacing, and you let the car coast more. There are some differences in the way the car reacts between entry and mid corner because of the modeling of the surface temperature of the tire and everything. So because of that, it's almost like iRacing and Assetto Corsa sit in kind of a spectrum, and you have to completely change that approach. Well, not completely change. I'm talking about like a high level, subtle change between how you trail in one simulator and the other. But having the ability to be fast on both allows you to create this flexibility within the spectrum, so that when you go to a real car, well, real life has a big variance, right? You're going to drive cars that really rely on trail braking, and you're going to rely on cars that really rely on dropping the brakes and coasting through the whole entry phase, which is very, very rare to do in iRacing, but it's a little bit more common in Assetto Corsa. So if you train on both, you become more flexible, and you become, you are now within this spectrum, and you can choose to press a button in your brain and adapt to your driving style. So I had really good results with students when I forced them to experience extreme different scenarios to create that flexibility in their driving technique. I think there's a big benefit in that.
Great advice. And I concur, and I agree entirely.
Yeah, interesting take on that.
Yep. So we could keep going down that line, and I think you and I will do something at one point about just training in general, things that you should know, and I think that's something to cover. I'll leave it at this. So many times I see real professional racers that coach, and they're adamant about people driving the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't like that, because people end up learning on memory, and you need to learn how to adapt and how to adjust to differences. So I always find changing tracks, cars, softwares, calibrations is important, because I think a good driver needs to be able to understand when conditions change and have the instinct to know how to adjust to it. So we'll dive deep down that rabbit hole in that topic when you and I should get together soon on one of our first episodes and really dial into training as a whole general. So I think we'll leave it at that. I think that you've answered this question like a professional that you are. I think that was a very detailed and very direct answer. So thank you for your time, Suellio. Thank you for answering the question. And we look forward to more of your presence on the Vero show. And like I said, shooting a full episode on training with you whole entirely. So thanks again.
You guys, have fun.
Moving on from that great question and having our great special guest, Suellio, answer it for us. We're going to move on to, we have 3 questions actually from the same person on our Discord channel, Koshi. We're going to go into the first one. So 3 DOF versus 6 DOF. Is the extra yaw, sway, and surge axis worth it? And if so, why?
Yeah, so if you have to answer it in one word, you say yes. That's it. But yeah, ultimately it depends on the budget and what you're looking for. I mean, if you want the best, you go 6 DOF and you don't think back. With 6 DOF, you have everything, all the movements there are in like a real car. With 3 DOF, you have only like, okay, we can say that they are the main ones, but you're still missing like half of the other things. Yeah, so it does add a lot to the price, going from 3 to 6 DOF, but it is worth it, in my opinion. It is worth it if you have the budget. If you don't want to spend that extra, but you want just motion, 3 DOF is definitely gonna be enough, and it's awesome as well. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a question I hate, and the reason why I say I hate it is because every time I get that question, obviously the answer is always 6 DOF, but I hate answering that because I don't want to seem like I'm just trying to like gouge more money out of somebody. It is a massive investment for what you're adding. It sucks that that's what it costs for that upgrade right now, and hopefully we can find better ways to make it more affordable. But like you said, like 3 DOF, you're getting the basics. You're going to get weight changes of what's going on with the car. You get elevation change, camber changes on track, and
heave, so you get to know the track surface and
Yeah.
bumps. So there's a lot of vital information there to help you. It definitely makes your drive a lot more immersive and a lot more fun. But I think where the speed comes in, the data that gives you the speed, that gives you the true connection to what's going on with the car, comes from the sixth off. Because now you're not only getting a traction circle in a linear way, you're getting a traction circle in a multi-dynamic way, because you can literally feel how the weight goes from a side load to a rotation transfer to grip on the back, and then to traction loss. I've seen many real drivers connect with motion as a whole, but I've seen them. I mean, one example, I always tell the story, and I won't go too in depth with it, but he's usually slower than I am on our older sixth off stuff or our three off. I put him on our modern sixth off on the system we have now, and because of his connection to the rear, all of a sudden he's faster than me, and I can't beat his times. So he relies on that information in order to go faster. So because of that, definitely the answer is sixth off. The good news on that, and what I like and what we've created here at Vero, is that you can start off with the three off. You can buy the three off today, and you can add the platform later. In the way that we've priced it out, there's no extra cost. You can buy a full Legend sixth off system now, and it will be the same dollar amount than if you buy the three off first and then you add the platform
That's
later.
awesome. Usually brands charge extra for that if you want to split it and upgrade over time.
Yep.
So that's awesome. And yeah, the extra platform just completes the motion.
Yes.
Everything.
So, sorry, spend more money, sixth off. But honestly, start off with three off, and then at least you have that freedom with us if you choose Vero to add that later on. You won't regret it. Actually, the last thing I can add to that, find out where our partners are, our resellers, our ambassadors, to see what they have available. Hopefully they have a sixth off there, because on our system, we can turn off the platform so you can try the three off and sixth off with the one. If none are near you that have it, look for the expos. We're going to be doing, I know 100% we're doing Sim Racing Expo in Charlotte and Germany. And we are also doing the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago. So if you're close to those or can make it out to those, do so. But hopefully we'll have more partners jump on by and more locations that will have the Legend system so that you can try it for yourselves. Yeah. So the next part of the question, which is actually a two-part to the questions, best single upgrade, and best in terms of immersion, and best in terms of racing performance. So immersion, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so immersion, hands down, the only answer is motion. There is the belt tensioner from Cubic or from you, what you're creating. It adds a lot.
Yep.
I'd even say it maybe adds more feeling than a 3DOF system.
Yep.
But in terms of overall immersion, you gain motion is the best. You just start moving. Like I keep saying that you start moving, but it's actually like if you think about it, you're sitting and you're driving, and it's not like that in real life.
Yep.
In real life, you move a lot. And yeah, you just get that. You start moving, which just adds a lot.
Yeah, I would say to confirm what you're kind of saying there and be a bit more specific, three off. Start with the three off. Tensioners, I mean, you and I have a lot of conversations. That could be a whole thing on its own as well. I enjoy it, but when it's paired with the three off, I get a full effect with the three off. I have a hard time connecting with the belt alone, but that's because I come from a real racing, which I'm expecting to be thrown around and moving.
Yeah.
If that's what your budget allows, get the belt tensioner to start. But I would definitely, what I would give as a recommendation is don't use the tensioner as your end all be all. Do it if eventually you plan on pairing it with the three off. That's kind of my take on that. But three off for immersion, if you're looking for that best, three off.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Performance. So what would you think is the component on your cockpit that you would look at for performance?
Yeah, so performance is a different one.
Yeah.
In real racing, what's the most important input? The brake.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that, and it's true for the sim as well.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you have to get the most expensive pedals, which are the active ones. Yes, with those you can adjust it to your liking and to match like what a real car is more than with other pedals. But you get good ones you like. You get used to them. They are reliable. They just work the same way. They don't change
Yep.
for whatever reason. Like, you know, the rubbers don't get softer or anything, and you get used to that, and that will make you faster. That's what makes you faster.
Yeah, no, entirely agree. And again, it's one of those things too where like I think there's no right or wrong pedal. It's not like
it's not like you need
there's
that.
one that stands out that's gonna make you faster. I think it's choose the one that feels right to you, that's within your budget, but then spend the time to calibrate it to what feels right for you. And then the reality is you just got to spend the time and learn how to brake better.
True.
Which is the most difficult thing, and you'll spend years mastering that.
Yeah.
But set up the pedal the way you want. But at a certain point, you got to understand that changing a pedal if you want to go faster because you're not going fast enough with the one you have isn't going to be the solution.
Definitely.
You have to work on you.
That, though. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So instead of changing pedals or changing like the rubbers and springs, you just from the get-go, from the start, you find a combination you like.
Yep.
You calibrate it properly. You look at how much it pushes, how much you need to push to get to certain percentages. You get used to it, and you just drive.
Yep.
And that's how you get better.
Yep. But at least I think we can both agree that the component on the rig that you'd be looking for performance is your pedal, your brake pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last question is completely off topic from everything that we've discussed today, but I love ending this on this, is what is our favorite virtual track? You go first.
I'd want to say it's Spa.
Yep.
Like a lot of people like that one, but I actually enjoy Road Atlanta a lot as well. It's like, as you said before, it's a roller coaster. It's just the flow of it. I love it.
Yeah, which is funny because I was just telling you this yesterday or the day before, but on the sim, I actually, for some reason, not that I disliked it, it never was one of my favorites. But then that's actually the last track I raced for in real life. In real life, it became my favorite so far. So it's funny how that worked. But it's a great track. It's absolutely a great track. For me, right now, there's so many, but just for reasons of right now, Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is my favorite track on the sim. I love it because it's great for tuning the motion system, which is most of my time on the sim. It has good elevation change, camber change, different types of curbs. It's short enough so that I can create repetition. So when I'm focusing on tuning stuff, I can get to the same corners often. Interestingly enough, it's a track that's only 4 hours away for me. I've been there several times in real life. I've yet to have raced it. And it's in real racers, it's typically one of the top ones that come out as their favorite ones. So bucket list 2026, I'm going racing to Watkins Glen for real, and I'll let you know how it is. Yeah. So that's it. We made it through episode 1 of the Vero Show. It was great to have you here. Traveled a long way. And it was great to have special guests, so Steve from Podium1 and Suellio from Almeida Racing Academy. So on that note, let's see you on the next one. Submit questions. Keep submitting questions of what you want to hear. Not only questions you want us to answer, but maybe things that you would want us to elaborate more into full topics on the episode. Let us know what you think. Any recommendations on how we can do better. So guys, thank you a lot for tuning in, and we're already looking forward to making more episodes and having Ned as well on more episodes and seeing what you're going to come up with next.
I love to come back.
So, all right, guys.
Bye.